Like, it wakes up at night thinking about it. Like, what did I do? It's freaking tumbleweeds, dirt.
He had dedicated, like, one of the songs,
First Date.
Ah!
Welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast, guys. I'm Liz.
And I'm Ashley. And today we are diving into our first nonfiction book. This one's going to be a memoir for our podcast. Not like our first ever. We've definitely have read a lot of nonfiction and memoirs in our day. But for the podcast, this is the first time we'll be covering an episode themed such as this. And what better way to, I don't know, commemorate, kick it off with a Blink-182 memoir a la Mark Hoppus's Fahrenheit 182. Because, hello, that's totally our vibe. Look, books and punk rock, that's like literally our thing over here, in case you didn't know it. So what better way to commemorate? What's the thing they do with cruise ships when they, like, inauguration? Is that the word? We're inaugurating this memoir series. Inaugural sailing.
I don't know.
Anyways, that's what we're doing today. We're so pumped to talk about it. The maiden voyage.
The maiden voyage of not Titanic, because that didn't go well. So
too soon.
Else. Too soon. So yeah, sorry if that offended you.
Yeah.
But truly, like, you know, Blink-182 is like my favorite band of all time. They have been ever since I was probably around 10 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Like, literally too young to be listening to them. But was I? I don't know. But, you know, this book was chock full of, like, literally everything that was Ashley and my, you know, childhood, middle school, high school experience. You know, and we'll get into the details of that moving forward. But basically, it was like the 1990s, 2000s, like Southern California pop punk rock scene. Yeah. And we were very, very much like immersed in that.
Yeah.
In every way, shape, and form possible. And so this book was like, in a nutshell, like our at least high school experience, but more than that, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we wanted to delve into doing a little bit of nonfiction, a little bit of memoir. We'll do more moving forward. But yeah, this is the great kickoff, if you will.
Sail maiden voyage, inauguration.
Yeah. Commencement, whatever, like, formal terms you guys want to use to describe something that is not formal at all.
Yeah.
Which I love.
Yep.
So, you know, our format's going to be a little bit different with this episode, obviously, because we'll be delving into we'll be asking ourselves completely different questions than we would, obviously, if, you know, in the past reading, fiction and things like that. So we'll be answering questions like, you know, did this person need to write a memoir? Because you guys know how I feel about famous people who write memoirs. Like, they do not all need to be writing them. Okay. Yep. You know, did it make us like the person more, or do we now see them in a new light? You know, how did it make us feel, etc. So we'll be answering some different types of questions with these, you know, types of episodes. But as per usual, the 15 minutes. The first 15 minutes will be spoiler free. And honestly, with memoir, it's going to work a little bit different with spoilers because there's not like twists and turns. Obviously, you could just, if you lived it, you already kind of know what happened with the history of this band. You know, if you Googled it, I'm sure you would know. But we'll give you guys the warning anyway. You know, first 15 minutes, spoiler free with our star and spice rating. And then we'll move on from there.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is like, we'll talk about if we recommend the book or not before getting into the spoilers, because that's always helpful with memoirs, you know? We'll save you some time by not doing it, or tell you guys gotta read it and why, you know?
Well, it's like, I feel like, you know, we've both read a lot of memoirs. Like, we haven't necessarily talked about them a lot on the podcast, but we both read a lot of them. And so I feel like I haven't read very many that are in the middle. Like, I either really enjoyed them and felt like I got a lot out of it, or it was the complete opposite where I was like, why was this a thing, you know? So yeah, we'll tell you guys how we felt about it, and if we think that you should read it and who it would be good for. But before we get into all that, we just wanted to say thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you for being here on our inaugural set sailing of memoirs and nonfiction. We appreciate your time.
We're clearly not sailors because we don't know what any of these terms mean.
I'm just going with it. It's just going to be a new theme for us on our nonfiction memoirs. Let's see if I remember next time we do one. But thank you for taking time out of your day and your book and your life to like pop us in your ear, take a little listen to see what us goofballs have to say about anything that we say. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcast. We are even on YouTube hanging out there. Liz has an amazing Blink-182 tee that she just picked up at Hot Topic, throwing us back, but like the new one, you know, but Hot Topics of yesteryear. I'm wearing When We Were Young tee from when Liz and I first went and got to see Blink-182. I don't know what side he's on, but you know, there you go. Yeah. So, you know, we're just feeling the nostalgia vibes over here. If you love this vibe too, books, maybe a little punk rock, maybe a little bit of just silly goofiness, make sure to follow us over on Instagram and TikTok too. We're at Besties in the Books podcast everywhere. And we have a Fable virtual book club that we do monthly buddy reads and all things like that. If you search Besties and the Book Club, you'll see us there. But we're hanging out. We're everywhere.
We are everywhere. So we thought that we would actually, this is how niche and specific we can get over here.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
We thought we would do our faves and fails specifically Blink-182 themed.
Why not?
Literally, why not?
Yeah.
Because apparently we have them. Ashley
I mean, it's
like,
part of the foundation of our friendship. So, hey.
Yeah.
If we can't talk about that, what can we talk about?
Yeah, Ashley was like, literally like, I don't know, do you think we could do it specifically just about Blink-182? And I was like, yeah, of course we can.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you go first? Why don't you let us know what your Blink-182, very specifically, faves and fails of your life
All right.
have been?
There's so many faves, honestly. And I told Liz we got to reel it in because we don't got all day to keep you guys. So I'll try to just pick one. I just have a very fond memory of the very first introduction I ever had to Blink-182. I remember it vividly. Okay? Where were you the day someone either made you play a song, not you play a song, but somebody played a song for you, there you go, or handed you a cassette disc? No, wait, what does CD stand for?
Cassette disc?
What the hell does CD stand for?
I don't know.
Compact.
Compact, yeah.
Disc. It's been a while, guys. We don't use them anymore.
Cassette tape compact disc.
Yeah,
Okay.
cassette disc. No. So I remember going to my brother's room and he had Enema of the State and he's like, Ashley, check it out. And I was like, oh, you're going to get in trouble because, you know, the nurse lady. And he's like, no, it's okay. It's a nurse. Mom doesn't care. I'm like, my mom's a nurse. So I was like, okay, cool. And then we just sat there in his room listening to it. And I'm like, this is awesome. And, you know,
nice.
It's all uphill from there. So,
yeah, that's nostalgic.
Yeah, so
I love that.
Shout out to my brother number 2. He's the second oldest. So, brother, I have 5. There's 5 of us. Yeah. So, good job on him. Yeah.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know. I literally don't know the first moment that I like heard Blink-182. I don't remember. I don't recall. I imagine it was probably like on TRL or something, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Or even the radio.
Or even the radio. Yeah.
K-Rock back then. Back when we had to like listen to our boom boxes outside, you know, and
with batteries.
You had a pool. I had like a cement block we hung out on. Yeah, with the batteries. If your parents could afford to get you replacements for those giant D batteries. Oh my gosh.
Giant batteries.
Giant. Yeah. And it needed like 8 of them.
That's crazy. Like to think about that? That's so crazy.
Yeah. The kids these days and us, we just have so much access to everything.
I know. So what's your Blink-182 fail though?
So Liz and I share a mutual ex-boyfriend. Won't name any names here. He had dedicated like one of the songs to me from
Which one?
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. He probably did it to you too. Let's find out the tea. And it was First Date.
Ah!
He did it to you too.
He did it to me too. I love that. I love that.
Hilarious. And we never talked about it. We didn't know that. That's hilarious.
I love it.
25 years of friendship, we still learn things about each other all the time.
That's so funny.
Those freaking guys that just reuse everything. Get original.
Original.
It was a good song though. So the fail is that like, unfortunately, although like it was, you know, just what, 7th or 8th grade, like stupid young kid stuff. So it's like, I don't hear the song and go like, ew, but I think of it every time I hear the song, like just cheesiness, you know what I mean? Which it's a fun, silly, cheesy song anyways, first date, but yeah, I'm like, you implanted in my brain. So annoying.
Yeah, it's very catchy too. It was kind of funny because after reading this book, we now know that Tom, wrote that song, right? Like it's kind of like a concession to their like record label.
Yeah.
He basically was like, you guys don't have enough like poppy songs on this album. You need to write a couple more catchy songs. And so Tom kind of wrote it as almost like a joke.
Yeah. And then it took off.
And then it took off. So there funny. We go. I love that. That's so funny.
There you go. All right, let's hear yours. Fave and Fail Blink edition.
Okay, well, I have a lot of faves as well, but I had to pick one. So my fave, I'm going with my All the Small Things tattoo on my wrist. Because Ashley wrote it for me. And right now it's my only Blink-182 tattoo. I always knew I wanted one, but I didn't know what I wanted to get. And so I was like, All the Small Things, that's perfect. And it's just on my wrist. And then I'm planning on soon getting What's My Age Again on my right wrist, because I feel like that's very timely, kind of like the age we are right now.
Yeah.
And they'll match. And Ashley will have written both of them.
Yeah,
so that's
I keep trying to send her. So the great thing is the first time she didn't tell me what it was for. So I just like wrote it and sent it. I mean, I had like a slight feeling, but I didn't know for sure. So I just wrote it and sent it. Now I feel so much pressure to like make it try to match enough, but like not too much. And like, then the age comes out different than the other age. So I overthink it now. So, you know, hey, I sent you some. Hopefully those last drafts are good. If you need some more, I'll send some more.
It's fine. I know. I was like, don't overthink it. It's literally fine. It's like not a big deal.
It's going to be on your body forever.
Well, yeah, but if it was like weirdly perfect, that would almost look worse.
That's true.
You know what I mean? That would be like, why so contrived? Like, it just needs to be like the way it is. But yeah,
so come from the heart, man.
Yeah, exactly. It just needs to flow. So yeah, that's a fave that I picked, even though, like I said, I have a lot of faves, but that's the one that literally I chose to commemorate on myself forever. My fail, which this, like, you know how like we have those embarrassing moments that are just like stupid but stick with you for like your whole entire existence?
Yeah, like you're trying to go to sleep at night and it just pops in your head. You're like, cool,
yeah,
thanks.
And you're like, oh god, that was like from 15 years ago. Why? Like, and it's not even a big deal and no one fucking cares. Sorry.
Yeah.
No one cares. But like, for some reason, it just like sticks in your brain. Okay, so again, this did not matter, but I went to go see the Mark, Tom, and Travis show with my friend and her dad. Her dad took us. Literally, guys, I don't remember how old we were, but I mean, we weren't even teens yet. So like, I did the math at some point. I think like 11, 12 perhaps. And yeah, like her dad took us to see the Mark, Tom, and Travis show. And it was so embarrassing to be like watching Mark and Tom like make all these crude, inappropriate jokes, while my friend's dad basically was just like, what? Like the horror, right? Like, what did I bring these kids to? Like, this is terrible. Yeah, so that's definitely my fail because it was very, very uncomfy. But hey,
but you also are like, you think it's hilarious and not sure what you could laugh about, but then you're also uncomfortable for this adult. Yeah. How did the adult feel? Oh, like, you say nobody cares. That adult probably still thinks about it.
Like, it wakes up at night thinking about it. Like, what did I do? Maybe. I scored them for life. I mean, the reality is that, like, we probably didn't even get, like, half the jokes. Like, we thought we did, but we didn't.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? So, no harm, 100%. No foul.
I loved when they talked about that in the book, though. How, like, parents would be, like, leaving with their kids, thinking it was, like, after it's All the Small Things, thinking it's, like, a fun, you know, what they are a fun, silly band, but, you know, they're for adults. So,
yeah.
It's funny.
So, that's definitely my fail. But was it really a fail at the end of the day? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's formative.
It was still a good time.
Made you stronger, tougher, stronger, faster.
Yeah,
totally. One of my faves, like, for us together was being at the When We Were Young Fest and seeing them was amazing. And that, like, it means even more now, that song that they have from their recent album, you know it, because we weren't sure if they were going to play anything from it. Now I'm blanking on the song.
From their new album, One More Time? Are you talking
One
about...
More Time. One More Time. Yeah. Is it the song One More Time?
Yes.
It's like, did you have to die to hear you miss me? Like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing them play it, you could feel, that might have been, don't quote me on this, that might have been the first time they played it live, but you could just feel the emotion from them and the crowd. I mean, like, I was tearing up. I think you were tearing up too. It was just like, oh my gosh. Like, it was just like, everything, like, of everything that they've ever gone through wrapped up into one song, it felt like. So
well, they obviously wrote that song about that, you know what I mean? And so it was just like, hearing them play it after not seeing them as Mark, Tom, and Travis, you know, like in a long time. Yeah. It was really,
and
really
talking
cool.
about like all these if you haven't listened to the song yet, like, definitely we recommend that song too. Like, just go and listen to the lyrics, because it's so good. It's so crazy. It's so true. And it can be placed for anybody's life. Like, it's as you get older and you grow apart from different people, and it's like, do I have to die to hear that you miss me? It's so, if planes are falling from the sky, Travis, obviously, like, it's crazy. So crazy. So,
well, that whole album's really good. And part 2 that came out is also equally as good. Like, so I'm just like, I'm here for all of it. I love it so much. That's one of the reasons why I love Blink so much, because I feel like their music has resonated with me my whole entire life, and it never, through all of their different iterations, has like, it's changed, but not like, I still relate to it just as much as I did when I was 10. That's crazy. Like, I don't feel like that happens with a whole lot of different, you know, not just bands, but like music in general.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get into our spoiler-free ratings real quick.
Yeah, as you can see going into this, guys, we are extremely biased. So keep that in mind.
Well, but think about it like this, because I thought about that. Yes, I'm extremely biased, okay? But I feel like if this wasn't good, that would almost make us like even like hate on it even more, because we would
while
be
we
like,
are extremely biased, we are first ones to make fun of our own stuff that we like too. Or to just look at this like more critically, because I feel like it so easily could have let me down. And it didn't, you know? So I feel like that's saying a lot. Yeah, for sure.
I had high expectations.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, you were the first one to read it, and so the floor is yours. Go ahead. What do you rate it?
I rated it 5 stars. I actually wrote a pretty lengthy review you guys can read on Goodreads if you want. 5 stars because it just made me... it transported me back in time in all the best ways. And made me love a band that I already love so much even more, by making me feel like I had a genuine insight into what was going on behind the scenes even more than I had previously. So 5 stars for me easily. Yeah.
And then who would you recommend it for?
I would definitely recommend it for anyone who, like I said, was kind of growing up in that scene, and that like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s kind of punk rock, pop punk scene. You'll probably love it. If you hate Blink-182, maybe don't read it. I don't know. But if you feel neutral about them, or if you like them, I think you'd really enjoy it. If you're looking for a good memoir, and maybe you don't like, this really wasn't your scene, but you're like, I'd be kind of curious to like know more about it. Maybe that would be a good one to listen to or read. But yeah, I feel like I would recommend it for just about anyone who likes memoirs or like this type of music. If you don't, it might not be your thing.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, or even if you were growing up in that time period, because there's a lot of nods to like millennial core, like nostalgia. TRL is talked about, Britney Spears, like not specifically as a person, but just that entire pop culture phenomenon that was going on. So even if you don't know Blink-182 and Mark Hoppus, I mean, you have an advantage if you do, but there's still other things talked about. And it's just like an interesting backstory to somebody's life too. So if you love memoirs and you love like the millennial core, then, you know, you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And I personally totally recommend the audio, because Mark Hoppus actually narrates it. It's like always a solid 5 stars for me when that happens, because it just keeps you completely invested in the person. It's harder when somebody else narrates someone else's memoir, I think.
I agree.
Yeah, that happened with Britney Spears, which I understand why she didn't, but it was just hard to like
kind of get immersed in it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I listened to the audio, and then I was finally able to pick up my copy yesterday because my Barnes & Nobles has been sold out for the 2 weeks since it came out. So good for him, first of all.
Yeah.
Good job, Mark. Old Marky. And yeah, so I have mine. And then I was like, oh, what a cool surprise. There's like a ton of backstage photos, behind the scenes stuff. And I was like, dang, this might warrant a reread for me, which like I'm not always all about right away. So I was like, oh, like I would, if I had this in my hands, what I would do is the old subtitle action. I would listen to the audio and read it at the same time so I could look at the pictures and things like that. I wasn't expecting that. So that's just a cool little treat that's in there. And obviously 5 stars for me. It was a good time. Everything that Liz said, piggybacking off of that. And for me, really appreciate memoirs that are written like this, that are chronological. Yeah. I've read a lot of musicians' memoirs that jump all around, and I'm just like, what the hell is even happening? So this was chronological, concise, clear. It just felt like, and I don't know if this is good or not in the memoir world. I enjoy it, but especially because listening to the audio, it just felt like he's just chatting with you and talking about his life, but in a clear and concise, non-rambly way. So unlike what we're doing here, you know?
No, I completely agree. I even put a little note in here, you know, what was the memoir about and what structure was it written in? So, and was it easy to understand? I feel like that is one of the main things that will like completely ruin a memoir for me is if I feel like the timeline doesn't make sense. Yeah. Especially if the narrator is like the actual like person who you're listening to on the audio, right? And then they're bouncing back and forth and bouncing back and forth. It just feels very chaotic to me. I don't know. Yeah. I have a hard time with that, or where it's like ambiguous. Like, wait, was this 5 years ago? Or yeah. And so I just put here, it was written in chronological order, very easy to understand. Very conversational. And it was basically just about the inception of, well, I mean, Mark gets into a little bit of his like history as far as like growing up, which we'll talk about a little bit in the spoiler section. So he does talk about that, but the majority of the book is about the inception of Blink-182 up until obviously like today. But yeah, I mean, it was clear. It was well written. I had no complaints about any of that formatting stuff. Yeah.
And then also shout out to Dan Ozzie, who helped co-write this book with him. Too.
Yeah, I feel like if all memoirs were written in this style, I would like them more, honestly. Yeah. Because I feel like that's usually my biggest complaint about a memoir is where I'm listening and I'm invested because it's the person who wrote it, narrating it, and then I'm like pulled out because I'm like, wait, did this just happen? Or did this happen in the past? Or wait, is this like what's going on? And I feel like then it makes it kind of hard to follow. So yeah, if like every memoir was just written like this, great.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Done. It's great.
Boom. Done. So, okay. So should we get into the spoiler section? Start talking about the details?
Let's go. What's my age again? Spoilers up ahead, guys. Toot toot.
Okay. So first things first, why did you decide to read this book? Why did you decide to pick it up in the first place?
Well, came across my feed on Instagram and I was like, oh, cool. Look, Mark has a new book. And then I forgot about it. And then 2 days later, Liz is like, hey, I finished that new Mark Hoppus book. I was like, okay, great. I will listen to it right now too. We were in the like thick of reading all the Heat of the Everflame, Spark of the Everflame, all that. And so I was like, hey, Liz, on our voice memo, let's do this for a podcast episode. And she's like, great. I'm already done. I'm like, good. I'll listen to it and I'll be done too. So I read it because I wanted to. There was nothing else to it. I was going to read it whether we did an episode or not. And cool. Yeah. Apparently they were, they were promoting it for a while. I had no idea. I literally saw it when it came out.
Yeah, so I know. I thought that was kind of annoying too. I think that maybe, because, obviously I decided to pick it up because why wouldn't I at this point? You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I get so many emails a day from literally everything, right? Like all the book stuff, emails every day from everywhere. Did I ever get one email about this? I'm like, no. So somewhere along the line, someone must have, I don't know, forgotten that I read memoirs, and it's like all just like fantasy for me now, I guess.
Yeah.
Because no one emailed me about this book or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, obviously, as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I've got to read it. And I'm so glad I did. I just blew through it in like 2 days.
Yeah. The algorithm isn't so great, huh? Because it's like literally all of the things that we like in one book. So what?
I know. And I did the audio as well. I had to get my hands on one of the signed copies of the hardcover, so I did.
That's awesome.
Which I'm really glad I got that. But yeah, as far as how I actually consumed it, I also listened to the audio because you kind of have to, right? Like with a musician, you're like, it kind of just goes. It goes
Most
hand in
memoirs
hand.
I like to listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. But definitely with this one, I was like, I can't not do the audio for it. And did you expect anything specific of it, like going into it?
No.
Or were you just,
a good time because it's Blink-182. So, you know?
Same.
It was a good, well-rounded, here. The way I would ratio it, it's mostly a good time. He does get deep in there. He does talk about some hard stuff. Towards the end there, I don't want to say trauma dumping because that's making a joke about it, but that's definitely what I told Liz. Like, whoa, wasn't expecting that because it doesn't come out of nowhere, but I'm just like, oh man, hold the headboard. Here we go. You know, things are getting a little sad over here, but you can tell he's just like, I don't know. He takes life seriously, but he doesn't at all. I don't know how to describe it.
I think that if he hadn't included the parts about the hardships of his life, it would have made the memoir seem a lot less genuine.
Oh, for sure.
I think that's what it was, right? It was probably good old Dan Ozzie over here being like, hey, man, this is really great, but we need to include some of the lows because that's how, I feel like a lot of fans really resonated with them and really, at least for me, like I can only speak for myself, but it's like, I love that they're so silly and surface level kind of stupid at first, but then you realize that there's so much under there once you really start like listening to their lyrics and like finding out where a lot of those stories came from. Yeah. And that's what makes me like them and find them so relatable. And so I think that's probably why, because, you have to include those lows to like make the highs, meaningful.
Yeah. I think it was refreshing for, I don't know about you, so I don't want to speak for you, but definitely for me, somebody who tries to laugh off their feelings a lot and make a joke about it. You can tell he's kind of similar in that way. So it's like he's joking around and stuff and he's like, oh, this shitty stuff happened. And then you could tell it's hard for him to talk about, not as he's narrating. It doesn't seem like a struggle, but I'm sure it was hard to put those pieces of himself into this book. And he talks about how it was accidentally posted when he was like, getting all the treatments done. And like, that's a scary moment. And yeah, you don't see a lot of people. I don't see a lot of people that go through life with that kind of vibe, I guess. I'm having a hard time wording it, but yeah, just like he's deep, but he tries to put a wall up still, tries to shield it.
I think that makes him seem even more genuine, more realistic.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've read a lot of memoirs where it's literally like you're talking about trauma dumping, where it's like literally the whole thing is just like a sad tragedy. Yeah. And like, I get that a lot of people have had really hard, lives and terrible things to overcome to be able to like get to the place where they are. And the memoirs are really impactful because of those reasons, right? Overcoming adversity and whatnot. So I'm not trying to detract from that. I think that, Mark just was like, yeah, I've gone through some pretty crappy stuff in my life, but like, that's also not what's entirely defining me. And I don't want that to be what this whole memoir is about.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what made it a little bit different, is that I didn't feel like it was just like, oh my gosh, like, it's like that soundbite, right? It's like, and then my mom died, and then my dog died,
and her legs fell off, and her head fell off.
Exactly. It's like, it wasn't like that, which I feel like sometimes memoirs can feel that way. Even, I've read some, even where I feel like the person didn't even have any bad stuff happen to them, but for some reason,
they're
like,
so
the whole
dramatic
thing
about
is
it.
just,
Yeah,
like so depressing, you know? Or I feel like it would have felt very like, you know, disingenuous if he would have not talked about his cancer or talked about, you know, the backstory of how you write a song, like, you know, Stay Together for the Kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like those were important things to include.
Yeah.
It was a good balance.
It was a good balance.
Realistic.
Yeah. It was a good balance where it's mostly lighthearted energy, but he just has a way of delivering it. And maybe obviously we don't know him in person, but it seems like his tone came across where he's like, hey, this stuff happened to me. It was effed up, but you know what? Life goes on. And like also struggling with that same thing. I think most of us elder millennials struggle with is like that balance of not having that toxic positivity, you know, accepting like this sucks. And I'm depressed, you know, but also knowing I shouldn't be depressed. I have a roof over my house. Like I'm in this amazing band that's touring across the country. Why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
Kind of talking about those things that people are afraid to talk about. That's like, because, you know, all of our lives we're told, well, you know, there's people that can't eat, you know, in this country or that, you know, and you should be so grateful. But it's like, that's great. And I do know that. So why do I feel like this? You know, he captures that really well, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Just like, it's like a validation of feelings. I feel like a lot of us, you know, really dealt with whatever hardships or depressing things we were going through as teenagers. You know, a lot of us chose to help us through that with music, right? Like music helped a lot of us through that. Blink-182 helped me through a lot of stuff. And yeah, it might not be, you know, as serious as how bad, you know, other people have it or whatever, but that doesn't make your feelings any less relevant.
Yeah.
And valid, you know, and I think that that's kind of like what Blink-182 has always been really great at doing is validating that, yeah, you're having these feelings. Maybe you're really depressed right now, but then, you know, maybe the next song on the album is a fun one. Yeah. Right? It's a good balance.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I always loved about Blink-182, because there are some other bands that are like, they're just the fun boys. That's it. And they don't ever have any deep songs, you know, and then you have the people that are too deep. So they just are a great balance. You can kind of tell that's like who he is at his core too. So
yeah, totally. I mean, we kind of, I feel like our answer to this question is we're just like moving along, but obviously we both connected with it personally, I would say, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, all along the way, like from the very get-go. Okay, so
yeah, take us back.
Literally, we'll take you back. And I loved this, like what you were talking about with the photos too.
Yeah.
Because one of the very first ones, when you open the book up to chapter 1, it's a picture of, I'm assuming that's Mark as a baby, crawling around in like literally the decrepit desert. Okay?
Yeah.
There's like double wide trailers, freaking tumbleweeds, dirt. Okay, this is like where Ashley and I grew up, guys. If you're ever curious, okay. So not exactly in Ridgecrest, California. So that's where Mark grew up. You know, I grew up in Wofford Heights, which is about an hour away, and then Ashley grew up probably like an hour and 20 away, like up the mountain a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, and so when you talk about a relatable memoir, I was like, because he would just describe, you know, things like growing up in a trailer, you know, having your air conditioning come from a swamp cooler, like have it literally be so dusty that tumbleweeds would be blowing across. Like,
and it's so windy and it burns your skin and you're trying to pedal your bike and you're going nowhere because the wind is so strong.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, we used to play high school tennis on the Air Force Base that his dad worked at. So it's like, it was just, it brought me back on so many different levels, just like growing up literally there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, yeah, it made me, I mean, you talk about nostalgia, like it made me feel nostalgic in a lot of different ways, but I feel like that was one of the main things that I really enjoyed about this book, because it was like, never have I felt more seen in a memoir before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, unless you grow up in the Kern, like you don't really understand it. You know what I mean? So I feel like I connected with it right off the bat for that reason. And I knew that I would enjoy the memoir, but I didn't know that I would have such like a personal kind of connection to it.
Yeah, agreed.
So I really,
so many things.
Really
I'm like listening and doing chores around the house and stuff, and he would say, mention this or that. I'd be like, huh? What? Rewind. What? That place? That band? So many different Kinko's? What? We hate printers too.
Oh my God, right? So yeah, it made me feel like this memoir made me feel seen. It made me feel nostalgic. It made me feel, excited that they're still making music.
Yeah.
Like all of the things, was there anything like specific? Like, how did it make you feel?
Yeah, I just was having a great grand old time. Made me feel nostalgic. I loved it. I felt like it was so nice to hear like some of the rumors just about like what Adam's song's about, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Finding out what it really is about. It's kind of like a mix of all the rumors,
Yeah, totally.
And how things were written. And so it just made me feel satisfied. So if you have been wondering like, oh, what is that? Like, why is it called Blink-182? It's because they were getting sued over the name Blink, which is what originally was their name. And 182 is a random number. Came out of his butt. Like, I love that. So satisfied. It's like all the questions maybe not all the questions, but most of the questions you would want to have, at least from Mark's perspective, are answered. I felt there was nothing at the end that I was like, oh, I wish he talked about this,
So overall, do you think that Mark Hoppus needed to write a memoir, or that, his life warranted writing a memoir?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Especially because for me, and I don't know if it was because I wouldn't consider myself like a super fan, so I didn't keep up with the Kardashians, if you will. Like I just listened to their music. I didn't keep up with anything that was going on behind the scenes. I honestly didn't even know they ever were officially broken up,
What?
So all of that was like pretty new to me. So
crazy.
For me, it was so nice. Like the stuff about Boxcar Racer, like I had no idea. I thought it was like, yeah, everybody's supportive and good because he has that song that he helps him with in there. So I thought everything was hunky-dory, and I know that Tom went off and did his stuff, and I just thought they're letting him fly his wings a little bit. So I felt like, obviously people knew there was stuff going on, but they didn't make it too much about that, like some people in the industry do, right? They do the drama, especially nowadays in the TikTok world and stuff. It's all the drama. So I felt like I had a good experience as someone who was just listening to it and never felt like, I was like, oh, cool, Alkaline Trio's doing an album with them now. Great. So it was cool hearing all this other stuff that was like really going on, So I felt like, he had a lot of interesting insights. Obviously, we had a great time, so I'm glad he wrote it, and I think it's justified.
Yeah, same. I never at any point was like, oh my God, like, obviously this was just a cash grab. Like, what was the point of this?
Yeah.
Which I feel that way often when I read memoirs.
Yeah.
No, I definitely felt like, as a Blink-182 super fan, if you will, I knew most of this information, but it didn't make it less fun or interesting to have it all concisely told to us in one spot.
Well, how much stuff did you think, were just rumors,
Yeah, exactly. Like, to have it like validated, like from the source, like was also really useful. Yeah, I felt like it was completely warranted. And I'm really glad that he wrote the memoir.
Yeah.
Do you think that there was anything specific that inspired him to write it right now?
I mean, just taking a guess and speculation, I'm probably going through cancer, and everything that kind of came to a head with the band and his life. I think it's very cathartic for people, whether the memoir is good or not. I'm sure it's very cathartic to be able to get everything out there. And I'm sure it was hard for him.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I think, going back to what you said about like, being there when being there at When We Were Young and seeing them play for the first time as the original trio in a long time, it kind of seemed like, that and the album was like just signifying this like new beginning.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was the perfect time for him to write a memoir.
Yeah.
Truly, like for, I think, the fandom, but also probably like, as you're saying, for him as well.
Yeah.
Did it make you like Mark more or less?
Oh, more.
Like, did you feel like he was more?
Yeah.
So you felt like he was genuine?
Yeah, I do. I mean,
Yeah, same.
As someone who undiagnosed, but struggled with OCD when I was a younger youth, a kid, it was very refreshing hearing somebody else discuss it as well. And even though he doesn't go too in depth, he does talk about his struggles with it and how it manifested, and how disheartening it was for these real life things to actually then happen, and self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it's incredibly difficult to talk about those things and put yourself out there for that speculation and criticism. So I do think he was genuine. I felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I would almost go into it like really having high expectations and hoping that he wouldn't let me down, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like when One More Time came out, I was like, okay, because I've loved Blink-182 in all of their different forms. Okay, so just to put it into perspective, like Alkaline Trio is my second favorite band, and so when they made an Alkaline Trio Blink-182 Baby, I loved those years. Those two albums were phenomenal to me.
Yeah.
Like, did I miss Tom? Yeah, but at the same time, like, Matt was also awesome. So I've loved all of it. So for me, I was just like, okay, well, hopefully reading this will, make me like Mark more, and it won't knock him down a couple pegs for me. And, it's like a don't ever meet your heroes kind of situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I was really hoping that wouldn't happen, where I read it and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I don't like him as much as I thought I did, you know?
Yeah.
But the complete opposite happened. I was like, I would absolutely, like, I just want to be his friend now, even more than I did before. I want to, like, hang out, pick his brain. I was telling Ashley back in the day, I probably have some of these somewhere. Little, let's say, 12-year-old me, I would fake interview Blink-182 and type out the interviews like I was writing for a magazine, and then I would add pictures of them that I had like cut out from magazines to the article to like make my own magazine.
Oh, that's so cute. Little Liz journalist. Little reporter.
Yeah. And so, it's like I quite literally make up the answers to questions that I would ask them. You know what I mean? And type them for them. And so to have a lot of those things, answered or explained like by Mark himself in a way that made me like him even more as a person was really cool. It was like a full circle kind of moment for sure. Did you feel like the writing quality was good?
Yeah, I liked it. It's casual, but structured. Yeah. And that's what I want. Like I said, I think his tone came through, and so I liked it.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of memoirs that I've read, they're either really well written and you're like, okay, obviously you didn't write this.
Yeah, right? Like if it was too
Perfect,
big of words, too big of, not to say anything about his intelligence whatsoever, but like you just would know that would feel disingenuous,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I didn't sit here and read it yet, but it's not. Yeah, it has its tone, so it's fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I felt, or sometimes the flip side of that is that you read it and you're like, oh, this is written so badly. Yeah. Like, what is going on here? But no, it felt very like conversational, and like he wrote it, and then, Dan Ozzie probably edited it and helped him fill in the blanks and structure things a little bit better. But it didn't feel like either someone completely took it over.
Yeah.
Or he just tried his hand at writing and it didn't go well. You know what I mean? Yeah. I felt like it was like a perfect, like, in between. And obviously Mark's a writer to some degree, And I felt like his tone came across really well.
Yeah, definitely.
So I didn't feel like it was just like, hey, you're famous.
Yeah.
We'll give you a person to ghostwrite this for you. Just kind of tell us a few things that have happened in your life and we'll see what happens. Because I feel like we can tell as the reader, especially if you've read a lot, you can kind of tell when something just doesn't seem quite right. Like this is not that person at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know how popular it is. So my question here was, if it's popular, does it deserve to be popular?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't seen enough people talking about it yet. It's still very new though, guys. So
it's so new. It just came out. I was going to say, when we get into the reviews, I'll look up like how many actual like Goodreads reviews and stuff are out on it. But I feel like it's not that many so far. I want to say it was maybe around 5,000 or something. So it still needs time. But, you know, going back to what you said, if it was sold out at Barnes & Noble for weeks, you know, I know that a lot of the signed copies went basically pre-order immediately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
And it was like, I have a lot of Barnes & Nobles around me. All of them were sold out in stores. So yeah, I mean, should it be more popular? If you like it, you know, if you like this stuff, then yeah, do it.
Yeah, but I feel like it deserves the popularity that it does get.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just... you know, riding on the coattails of like a good name.
I mean,
it's a good book within itself.
I didn't read the Travis Barker book.
I didn't either. And I think part of the reason for that was like, and you know, I might be completely just making stuff up, but he wrote that a really long time ago. And to me, I'm like, I don't know. I like it more when there's more story to tell. Do you know what I mean?
I have no idea.
Well, maybe we'll have to do that for science. We'll have to go back and read Travis's and see how that holds up. But my inclination would be probably not great, because I feel like that was a long time ago. And like, how much had really happened by then? I don't know. Did he write it right after his plane crash, I wonder? Oh, yeah. I have to find out more information.
He's just had like a lot of drama come out about him. And honestly, that turns me off. Like, I don't care like about that stuff. So that's what was nice about this, is like, you don't know really what kind of behind the scenes you're going to get. And you think, oh, it's going to be like kind of like that icky drama. And it didn't feel like that. He wasn't just trying to shame anybody. He kind of understood, like, everybody was just making the choices. There were some times that he felt like confused about people's choices, and he was just honest about that. So that was kind of refreshing. It wasn't a smear memoir. What's the word? There's a word for it. Like, just like bashing, you know?
Yeah, like he wasn't like defaming anyone on purpose.
Yeah, it wasn't like a smear campaign at all.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like that was also something I liked about it, because obviously now we know, at least from our perception, right, that like he and Tom are on better terms. Their band is back together. They're touring together, whatever. So I was wondering how he was going to handle that. And I felt like it was a really good balance of like explaining what happened without getting into too many details. He had, you know, grace for what Tom was going through, but then at the same time wasn't just like okay with everything that he was doing either. Yeah. Like, he was critiquing what happened, but without bashing, not agreeing with everything that everyone was choosing to do, while also not bashing. Yeah. And so I felt like that made it seem extra genuine to me too, because it's like, I feel like if Tom read it, he'd probably on some level agree with what he was saying. You know what I mean? Like, that's what was going on, whether we liked it or not. You know what I mean? So I felt like that was a really good way to tell the story. Yeah. It's not like reading Mark's memoir made me like Tom any less, I guess would be a good way to put it too. Exactly. Because that wasn't the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite part, or a part that you wanted to just talk about?
I loved it all. It was all a good time. It was so funny. Okay, I liked hearing about how the music videos were created. And even their songs, how they would both split up in a different room and then come together and like make it happen. Because you felt that as a listener, and then to know that is how it happened was just fun, you know. And it's all the small things video, and Mark was like, "It's not going to be successful. I don't get it. This is stupid." And then it was like so explosive and so hilarious, and we still love it to this day. So things like that are so funny to me. I was like, "This is going to be garbage." Oh my gosh, it's our #1 hit. Yeah. Right. What about you? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was reading about how Mark and Tom's first song that they wrote together was Carousel. Because that is my favorite Blink-182 song. Aww. I didn't know that at all going into it. It's always been my favorite song since I first started listening to them. Like, literally to this day. It's just a good song. The lyrics are good. Like, everything about it, I just love. It's very relatable in a lot of different ways. And yeah, to just like read about the fact that like literally that was the first time that like he and Tom sat down and like like you were just saying, kind of mishmashed a couple things together and like came up with that. Like, what a cool thing.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It was super cool.
Yep.
So that was definitely my favorite part, I think. I mean, I had a lot of favorite parts, but that's the one that stood out to me because I was like, what a weird coincidence that would be my favorite song that they've ever written. And it was also their first song they ever wrote together. Yeah, that's
definitely
cool. Made it more nostalgic. Did you have a least favorite part?
I mean, it was all necessary. I mean, it's hard because we're talking about his life here, right? It was my least favorite part of this.
I didn't like that part.
Yeah, I mean, the scuba diving incident was pretty rough, and you could tell that either he didn't want to go in too much about it because it's horrible, or he's still struggling with it to this day, That's horrific what happened to him. And that's what I was talking about earlier. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, haha, this terrible thing happened to me. But anyways, kind of like, it's not that he's trying to be disingenuous. It's that you can feel that he's still a little guarded about that, obviously. And that's somebody else's life. But then also it was just kind of sad, I guess, to hear about the boxcar racer situation going down, I wanted to know about it, so I am glad he told us some more, but him still like sounding like to this day he's still kind of confused about it, and that's sad, because it's like you see them on stage, it seemed like the best of friends, and to know that there was some sad angstiness going on behind the scenes, it's like, oh, just kiss and make up, it's fine. I know. So it's like, yeah, it is a little strange that he just kind of like was doing it on the side, and he had to find out from someone else that was going on. So my heart was a little sad for him. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that like he and Tom like literally didn't talk for like 2 years or something crazy that. Like they just talked through like their agents or whatever. Super sad.
What about you?
I would say that was probably my least favorite part as well. Not necessarily because I didn't like reading about it, but just because I was like, oh, like just the behind the scenes stuff that like as fans, we knew they, had issues, but like what was really going on,
Yeah.
That was my least favorite part. Oh, I did want to mention another part that I really appreciated. So more of like a favorite part, but it was more like kind of like a theme, I would say, ongoing throughout the book, was this idea that like I liked that Mark was so open with his experiences with like suicidal ideation and whatnot. Because I think that like he obviously and Tom and, Travis is a little bit more quiet, but whatever. They all kind of come across as like happy-go-lucky, obviously on stage. Like they've never been the, like, as you said, super serious band. Like, they have their moments, but
yeah,
for the most part, it's a good time. And so, but no one can be like that all the time.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated him addressing that because I feel like it was really, really super relatable, to anyone who grew up just having those really low lows and like not necessarily like having an outlet for it. Like that's where music kind of comes in, you know? And I feel like obviously that can help you throughout your whole entire life, but to like know that you're not alone in very like uncertain terms, because you can interpret like their songs however you want to interpret them, right? Like that's all very subjective. But to actually like read his memoir and know like, no, I was having these feelings and that's where a lot of this music came from is like pretty validate. It feels validating like to be seen in that way, So I did appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And giving
more real.
And giving us a different picture of what depression can look like.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know? And how it can come in all different forms, It was a different take.
Yep.
Not a different take, but just a different, it does not black and white the same way for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally. Did you learn anything about Mark that was shocking to you?
Oh, shocking. That he's married to the same person since he got married. I don't know. Like that's shocking in the music industry and anything. That's so cute. Now I know her name is Sky and they have a son. Now it's crazy at the end of the book. He's like visiting from college. I'm like, oh my gosh, we like heard him be born and now he's like in college. He grew up so fast, It's like, so that was shocking to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there was nothing necessarily like shocking like for me because I feel like a lot of that stuff like I already knew.
Yeah.
It was just more fun to like see everything get like strung together in a nice, concise way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess like at the end of the day, I will say, I had no idea that he was in that crazy scuba diving accident situation. Like, that was new information to me. I did not know about that.
Or that he lived in, like, what is it, London for a few years? Like, that was
like,
so
kind of just
sweet.
disappeared.
Yeah, and like eating his farm eggs and like just living that life. Like, he lived at what seems like so many different lives, but like privately. So I commend them. I commend anybody who can keep that separation for sure. So that's what I mean is like private, as in like, we don't know about all that stuff, like his actual day-to-day life, at least once he got married, you know? So, and then I forgot what I was going to say. So whatever. Yeah. Oh, I mean, and even his OCD, obviously. We had no idea.
So after reading this whole book and getting all this insight, is there one more thing that you would ask Mark? Like, is there something that you're curious about that he didn't talk about?
I'm curious if they're going to make another album later on. No pressure, no rush, but I'm curious if this, because it's called One More Time, you know? So I've just been curious. They're still touring, a little here and there. Sounds like it takes a lot out of them. But yeah, what about you? Anything in particular?
I'm going to live under the delusion that they'll keep making music forever. Yeah. So, you know, not really. I feel like maybe I'd ask, like, you know, out of all the tours, all the infamous tours, right? The Mark, Tom, and Travis show, the Pop Disaster tour, like, which one was his favorite and why? Like, I'd want to know that, you know, because it was kind of fun. I was literally, like, sitting there, you know, with my, like, red yarn, trying to string together, like, my past. You know, I was like, where was I during this tour? Where was I during this tour?
He talks about
Who was I with?
So much. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, and San Diego, I'm in Southern California now, so, yeah.
Well, wasn't there something in there where he was talking about how, like, the Bakersfield, like, the tour that we were at for Pop Disaster, didn't it kick off the whole tour? I think it was the first show.
Something like that. Yeah, one of the festivals,
yeah, I was like, well, that's cool. Yeah, it's just, I would want to know more about that and why. He talked about it quite a bit, but I'm always curious just because I like remembering all those things, right? Like, what was going on in my life when I was there? Yeah, who did I go with? Was I with you? Like, where were we? What album was it for? What bands were they playing with? Like, all those things. You know, it's so fun and, like, such a blast from the past.
Okay, well, Liz, as if we haven't clarified this.
Okay.
Did the author help you reflect on your own life experiences at all? The whole time.
Yeah, like,
where were we when he was in Bakersfield? What were we doing? How close were we in the vicinity?
Yeah, like, literally, yes. Every step of the way, I feel like, like, every step of the way. Because I was sitting there thinking, like, okay, where did I go see that tour when they did that album? And then when they were broken up and they were touring with Matt Skiba, where did I see that? You know what I mean? Like, I was literally there, like, every step of the way, basically. And so, you know, it made me want to, like, get out some of my old concert t-shirts that are, like, stashed in my, you know, closet and see which ones I still have from back in the day. Like, it's just, it was super fun. It made me think about the songs that I really liked from them over the years and why they resonated so much with me. I actually, when I was reading this book, I was training for my half marathon, so I was running a lot. And so I decided to go through their entire catalog, and I started, you know, about Buddha. And I went all the way through One More Time, Part 2, and I listened to every single album from start to finish while I was running, just to see kind of, like, how everything evolved. And then, you know, because I was also listening to the Memoir at the same time. So it was kind of fun to, like, bounce back and forth. And it's really interesting to, like, not just connect those albums and those tours with, like, where, you know, I saw them play or with who I saw them play, etc., but, like, what was going on in my own life during that time. You know, it's like I was, for example, like, Neighborhoods is the one album that I have connected with the least. And when I was thinking about that, it was because when that album came out, it was probably during, like, hardest time in my life so far. And so for me, I just wasn't listening to a whole lot of music. And so it's kind of stuff like that where I'm like, I like being able to, like, I could literally chronologically, like, journal my entire life as it pertains to, like, Blink-182 albums.
Yeah.
And that's crazy to think about.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
So, yeah, it definitely made me reflect on my own life experiences. What about you?
Yeah, it was like all that nostalgic and a little bit of cathartic healing is hearing them talk about these major world events.
Yeah.
So we had them discuss where they were when 9/11 happened, and what the music video that they were filming with the house explosions, and having to figure out how to rewrite that and change it without changing too much and taking away from the song, and all of those major events, going to the troops to perform for them. All those major events, hearing it from a musician's perspective, what was going on in their world.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was cool. Yeah, I kind of forgot about that part in the book, just like them talking about like the major, where were you on 9/11, right? I remember I was in a history class in the 8th grade. Like, it's just, like thinking about that, and then I was probably going home after school to listen to Blink-182. Like, that's crazy to me. That's just like a super weird blast from the past, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So do you have...
Yeah, it's just, you just connect to where were you when this was he talking about this, and you can like draw instant parallels.
Yeah. Because
it lines up so much with our adolescence. So it's crazy. We don't have a lot of other musicians' memoirs that can do that.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. What about, do you have any quotes that stood out to you?
Oh, definitely. Let me pull them out.
See, this is funny because normally I'm like the quote lady. Like, I write down so many quotes, and I think I was just like, I listened to this and I literally did not write down one specific quote. I was like, no.
There'll be more when we like physically go through it. Yeah. I think for sure. So this one, it felt like reading this, I'm like, this could just be like, if Liz I'm going to humble myself here. It's not what it is, but it felt like this is me and Liz if we were ever boys in a pop punk band, It's like, because we have so much in common with them. It's insane. Maybe because we're like literally in that pop punk scene in the Millennial era, living our best life. So let me just say, he has the Mitch Hedberg references.
God, yes.
So it's moments like that I'm like, rewind. Yeah. Kinko's I talked about, the sonic booms back in Ridgecrest. I'm like, are those like not a thing outside of that area? Because I haven't heard one since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I loved the movie The Jerk, and he has quite a few quotes like in that style of, that's all I need. I don't need anything else besides this remote and this lamp and this, litter box or whatever. So I loved those. Like it's total, like you ask, would we want to be friends with them? Yeah. Like it's totally our sense of humor, totally our same taste in music, everything. He would fit right in. Yeah. Come on down. I wish. Okay. So, but this quote sums it all up perfectly. Some of my best friends are people I bonded with because they can quote Dumb and Dumber and Zoolander. I mean, if that isn't Liz and I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's perfect. So we've already kind of talked about this, but we wanted to make sure to include a little section just to honor the audiobook. So yeah, I mean, I rated the book a 5-star. I would rate the audiobook a 5-star as well. Would you?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
Perfect. So get yourself the audiobook.
Yeah, do it.
And then let's wrap it up with some reviews, shall we?
We shall. Now, it's only been out for a couple weeks, so there aren't that many. Yeah. So here on Goodreads, I'll start with the negative and we'll end on the positive with Liz.
Okay.
So there's only 5,800 ratings so far.
Yeah.
But overall, a 4.6, which is high, especially for a memoir.
Yeah.
But, obviously the fans are going to be what's reading it right now. So he only has 1 star right now on Goodreads. I'll read it, but hey. It says, from Amy, good God, talk about an unreliable narrator. Why did nobody who read this pre-release to tell this man how bad it makes him come across? I fear the only reasonable person mentioned in the book is Sky, and I feel so bad for her. Hardback equivalent of a trash magazine. And so sometimes I read these reviews and I'm like, oh, this person commented on their review. Shauna says, who hurt you? Like literally, like, did we read the same book? I don't know.
Like it was like her or Sky, and he picked Sky, and now this is her like revenge review.
So he's gonna just trash him. But yeah, that's good. She's not trashing the girl. I'll do a Audible review. There's no 1 or 2 stars there, so that's good. Yeah. Overall, only 600 ratings, almost 700, and almost a 5-star. So let's give him a couple 3 stars. Chronicles of Blink, it was okay. A few new things stood out. The writing and narration is sometimes funny, sometimes not. Okay altogether. We should have like the ages of people who were reading this. Because I feel like if you don't know anything that's like happening during those times, you might be like, what is that? What's a Kinko? Like, what's
Zoolander?
This one's, what's Zoolander? I don't know what any of this references are. This one says meh. I felt a little bland. What's this guy's morals? What does he believe? What's his deepest desires? What's the point of his art? I still don't know. Interesting.
So those are when I'm like, I think that you might be thinking too hard into it. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Yep. All right. What do you got? Let's positive it.
Yeah.
Let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
What are the 5 stars?
5 stars on Goodreads. So Nick says, an easy 5 stars from a guy whose entire personality was Blink-182 in his youth. This book hit everything I hoped it would. The first 3/4 of the book are all pre-breakup, which I appreciated so much. Stories from the inception of Blink to them clashing with Green Day on the Pop Disaster Tour, to them convincing Robert Smith to sing on Self-Titled. I felt like I was there with them during all of this, and I've never felt so overcome with nostalgia reading a book before. Loved it.
Yeah.
I feel like that summed it up really good. Yeah. And then Morgan, she says 5 stars, Blink forever and always. If you know anything about me, you know that music is the blood in my veins. And to have a book written by my favorite band member describing the very humble beginnings of my favorite band that I've now seen live more times than I can remember over the last 3 decades is a feeling I can't even put into words. This book was everything I needed. Was there any new groundbreaking news about Blink's history? No, there wasn't. But are we surprised? No, we aren't. I laughed, I cried, I smiled. I laughed so hard I cried, and then I cried some more. His cancer journals broke me, but then the final chapter put me back together again. Thank you, Mark. I'm so happy you lived. So, yeah, I loved that review just because of the last line. Like, thank you, Mark. I'm so happy you lived. Like, it's super, super impactful because I know that, we've all experienced a famous person who we, admired. Like, for me, it was like when David Bowie passed.
Yeah.
It was like a sad time for me, but like, I feel like someday when one of these guys goes, it's going to be like extra sad because then you just know that like no more music's coming, Yeah. So I really appreciated that review.
Yeah, that was good. That encapsulated all our feels. Good job, random Goodreads reviewer.
I know. Thank you. So do you have any last things to say about Fahrenheit 182?
No, I'm so glad he wrote it. I'm so glad he told his story and he had the chance to do that. Yeah. I love the name too, Fahrenheit 182. It was like literally all of our favorite things. Yeah. So for us, like you said, maybe we're biased, but it's like, what's not to like, chronological order, all of our favorite pop punk behind the scenes moments, connecting some of the dots, putting to bed some of the rumors that were out there, finding out some behind the scenes and more about his life too. So I loved it. 10 out of 10. Or 5 stars, whatever.
5 stars, 10 out of 10, whatever.
Any last words for you?
No, I feel like it pretty much summed it up. Like, I had very high expectations and fulfilled them.
Good.
It was just a good, fun time. And I'm glad that I read it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
Go read it.
Yeah, definitely.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
So, should we wrap this up with a smash or pass?
Unhinged, smash or pass. Let's do it. I feel like we should probably just do an F, Marry, Kill with the Blink boys.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good old Blink
All
boys.
Right.
F, Marry, Kill. So we got Mark, Tom, and Travis. Go.
Wait, can we sub Matt in?
Sure. I don't know. No cheating.
Okay, only originals. Only
originals
the OGs.
Only. Well, semi-original. Most known for, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For any purists out there, he does discuss the beginnings of the band with Scott and then how he leaves and stuff. Just in case you were wondering about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just go with Mark, Tom, and Travis. F, Mary, kill. Interesting. Interesting. I would have to say,
Oh, she's really thinking on it.
it's too hard. Well, it's too hard. I don't want to kill anyone, Okay, so we're going to F Travis. We're going to marry Mark, and we're going to kill Tom. Sorry, Tom. Sorry, but you probably think you're going to go off into some special planet anyways. It's fine.
Every time they would say, like him saying, Tom would go up and say, hey, I'm Tom. I would think of 50 First Dates every time. It was so funny. So for me, now that I've had a couple hours to think about it from how long it took you to answer, no, I'm just kidding. I would say F Tom, marry Mark, and kill Travis. Sorry, guys. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think what we've deduced from this conversation is that Mark is marrying material.
Yeah. Well, apparently. I mean, he's been married to the same lady, so hey, he seems faithful.
That's
he
so
seems
cute.
chill. I mean, this is all superficial and fake, and we're just joking around. But yeah, he seems like the most chill, obviously, in a relationship. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And then
I will say.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
You go.
No, I was just going to say my answer would be different if it was between Mark and Matt and Travis, but we'll keep that in here. We'll keep that in the mind.
I think that we should do a F, Marry, Kill albums edition. Just pick albums, just any of them, because I'm not going to list them all, or I'm not going to pick 3. So just
all of them, yeah.
Out of all of them, you have to marry one, kill one, and F one. So it would be marry would be like you listen to it for the rest of your life only.
Yeah.
Kill would be like one more time of it, I guess. Just or any time if you're partying, I don't know. And then one you have to kill, obviously. Go.
Okay. Gosh,
another hour.
These answers. I know these answers. It's too hard. It's way too hard.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll go first.
Okay, go. Yeah.
I'd marry Enema of the State because that was my first introduction to them, and I listened to it front and back every day. Not every day, but forever, every day. Yeah. And then, I would not like it, but I'd have to kill. It's a tie between Take Off Your Pants and Jacket and. Oh, no. Not kill, sorry. F.
Okay.
Take Off Your Pants and Jacket or Dude Ranch. That's hard.
That is hard.
I'm going to go with Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, final answer. And kill Neighborhoods because I don't think I ever listened to it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So my kill would definitely be Neighborhoods for the same reason. I did listen to it, but it just doesn't, since that was like the weird like blackout time in my memories. Like,
it sounds like it was a weird time for them too. So yeah, it's all right. Feel justified.
True. My F would definitely be Take Off Your Pants and Jacket for sure. Mm-hmm. And my Mary would be the Mark, Tom, and Travis show because I feel as though it encapsulates so many different eras in one album.
It does. Yeah.
Yep. Yes. It's kind of cheating, but it's okay.
Yeah, is that their live album?
Yeah.
Hey, that's all right, though. It's all the faves.
But it came out so long ago. Like, literally, it came out before a lot of their new albums even came out. So, but sure. I feel like it's just got so many of the classics in there. Yeah. And to this day, it's one of my favorites.
It's a little cheating, but we'll allow it. Because we make up the rules and they're not real. Great. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today as we pretty much just semi-fangirl about Blink-182 and just millennial years and just go down a stroll down memory lane. Hopefully you felt that way too and felt the nostalgia vibes and you stuck around. And if you did, well, you might as well follow, like, subscribe anywhere you like to list your favorite podcast because obviously you guys are awesome and that's what you'll do if you're awesome, right? So do it. We're everywhere at Besties in the Books podcast, including YouTube, also on Instagram and TikTok. And you guys, if you have any memoir requests for us to read and do a deep dive on, let us know. Send a comment. You can now comment on Spotify and also YouTube. I'm tired. I'm winded. I gotta go. I'm an old lady. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks a lot.
Right.
Have a good day.
Have a good
what am I even saying? Have a good day.
Love you. Bye.